Hey guys, this is my video review of the Born-kite LongStar 2 5.5 metre single skin depowerable kite. It's got a nose profile that's held in place by the ribs with some nylon line at the back of those ribs that holds everything in place. No ribs down the belly of the kite, it's all held in place by bridles. And this is Trevor and Chook either giving you an idea of scale or randomly planking. Not sure which. Lots of bridles, hasn't been a problem, but I did always give them a shake out and make sure there was nothing caught up or tangled. And I don't think I'd like to land this in a big pile of dead seaweed. Depower works in sort of the usual way, changes the angle of attack when you let the bar out. Also, you start to lose tension in the belly and trailing edge of the kite. It sort of goes flat from nose to tail. Doesn't actually flap unless you sheet the cam pleat fully in and let the bar fully out. But apart from that, it stays quite silent and no flapping. Very stable. This is a reasonably stable wind anyway, but even in gusty conditions, it's been quite well behaved. In fact, it's a very well behaved kite. Goes downwind very well. Makes power very quickly. This is quite grunty. I was able to actually kite up and down the beach in about 5 knots, or just a little over 5 knots, but that was working the kite, so I would say 6 to 7 knots, you're pretty good to just park and ride. Goes quite quick too. This is in about 14 knots, and Trevor did some downwind runs here, and one of the runs he clocked to 62 kilometres an hour on the GPS, so for this style of kite that's quite quick. I'm going upwind in about 8 to 10 knots here. Goes upwind pretty well. You won't catch a vapour or a chrono or kites like that, but you'll certainly get upwind alright. Bar pressure is light to moderate, was no trouble to hang onto the bar even over several kilometres going upwind. Wind's getting up to around about 10 knots here, goes downwind really nicely, stays nicely powered up. Now I know this isn't unique to the LongStar 2, but this is a really handy trick. You can just take it to the edge of the window, stick it on its edge like this and let the bar go completely, and you got your hands free to adjust things, take a few photos, grab something to eat. A couple of occasions I just took the chicken loop off and gave it to Trev, he hooked on and then took the kite off, or I just dropped the chicken loop over a foot peg on the buggy and walked up to the kite and folded her up. But very handy, it'll just sit there and bob up and down. I think this is called a ghost landing. I have a feeling some leading edge inflatables do this as well, but I've never flown one of those. But a very handy trick to take a break with. I've got about 3 minutes of this footage, it just goes on and on and on. The kite just bobs up and down and it's fine. Get an idea of the bar here. Bar's nice and light and comfy. Push away chicken loop. You can see the leash attached there. When you push the chicken loop away, the whole thing will shoot up the line to the splice and flag the kite out on a single front line. I only did that once, but that worked fine. Was no problem to reset. Didn't get in a big tangle or anything like that. Now, I'd much rather judge a kite on its own merits rather than compare it to something else. but a lot of people have asked, how does it compare to the Peak 2? Well, I've got a 6 metre Peak 2, so Trevor and I spent a couple of hours running up and down the beach, swapping between these two kites. To sum up, they both do the same job. They're both excellent kites. They just do things a little bit differently. Here we're going downwind, and the LongStar 2 is actually quite a bit faster and easier to fly downwind. It stays powered up easier. And you might not really be able to tell from this bit of the video, but I'm actually holding Trevor up behind me. He goes past in a minute and I can't catch him once he's gone. Keep in mind the Peak 2 is half a metre bigger. Again, this is only about 10 knots or something like that, and it's probably about 30 degrees cross on shore. If you're wondering what the thing on my face is, it's just to stop sunburn. I hate putting sunscreen on, and the sun is really vicious with that quite sort of reflective beach, and you can get burnt really easy. So I just tend to cover completely up rather than put sunscreen on. And once Trevor's gone past there, I can't catch him. Going upwind, and again this is probably only about 10 knots, the Peak actually has the advantage. I'm just slowly hauling Trevor in here on the LongStar, and you can see he's working the kite up and down a bit, and the Peak just sits there, and I'm just slowly catching him up. There's a bit more bar pressure on the Peak than there is on the LongStar. LongStar's quite a bit lighter to hold on the bar. There is a double stoppable setup on the LongStar, so you can actually like hold the bar in position. But I just found it a little bit too stiff and a little bit difficult to use, and that's probably the only thing I didn't really like about the whole kite and bar setup. Kite itself is fantastic, excellent value for money, really good all-round versatile kite. Doesn't have much lift, so it'd be probably good for a beginner as well. And I think this is going to give all its competition a real good run for its money. An excellent kite.